get ourselves started, we are going to be introducing ourselves. So, obviously, I am Ryan Williams. I am the president of College Republicans, and alongside me, I have Christina Nugent, who is my vice president, and Keen, who is our vice president of activities and development. We also have Jack here, who is our vice president of outreach, Jasmine Delatour, who is our secretary, and Sam right here, who is our treasurer. And a special introduction to leader of Gen Z Coalition of Nevada, Marlon.
Wow, I am so excited. Are you guys excited to get some debate on? Yeah, let's do it. Guys, I just want to say I am so grateful for each and every one of you across the aisle coming to make this possible. There are so many events that are just noise and that don't contribute to the net benefit of youth and of Gen Z. And I noticed that was happening far too often. So I wanted to create something to where people could have a nice, healthy, peaceful discourse. And I'm so glad that College Republicans opened their doors lovingly to be able to allow this to happen. So thank you guys so much. A little bit of background on myself, being that I'm your moderator, you should get to know me just a little bit. I am a Las Vegas local, born and raised here. I love the city dearly. I don't want to see it hit the dirt. So I figured, how do I get involved without actually running? Because I didn't want to run. I figured I would facilitate. That's usually what I do best. As an operator, as a business owner, I run a media marketing agency here in Vegas. So I am so grateful again, and I will pass the baton back, and we'll get started.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you being here. We are going to start by introducing the candidates that will be participating tonight. It seems like we have an excellent slate of candidates here. Thank you. I would like to welcome the first one up here. Just talk a little bit about yourself for a minute and what office you're running for.
Yes, my name is Rafael Arroyo. I'm running for Senate District 12 on the South Side.
Can I have you like right here for the live stream? Thank you.
All right. So my name is Rafael Arroyo. I'm running for Senate District 12 on the south side of town. That's the Silverado Ranch area, by the south point all the way back to the Ant Resort and then Green Valley. And I was born in Puerto Rico, moved to Vegas when I was 6 years old, so I've grown up out here. And I see that our state, I think, is going in the wrong direction. So as a business owner, as someone that got to learn local politics, I said, hey, I gotta take some action. So I'm here running. That's Rafael Arroyo for Senate District 12.
Hello, thank you for having us here. I'm so excited to be here because I actually went to school here as well too. My name is Jose Zelaya and I'm running for governor. I see a lot of things happening here that I don't agree with, and this is the reason why I'm running. I want to change. I don't see a future for our young generations. I have 4 kids. I want them to succeed, and I don't see that if we don't have somebody running that has a loud voice and is willing to fight the fight. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Mark Sprinkle. I'm running for Clark County Public Administrator as a Republican. I've worked for Republicans for quite a while, although this really should be a nonpartisan race. So everyone, after I win the primary, I hope you can all vote for me. But the Public Administrator's Office, in case you don't know what they do, whenever people pass away here in Clark County, if they don't have a next of kin readily available, we go in and we have investigators in the office who will look for the next of kin, because we want to turn over the keys to the house instead of taking everything to probate. But if we're not able to find the next of kin, I will be the executor of everyone's estate here who passes away without a will. So it's really exciting stuff. But I hope I can count on your vote. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody, my name is Ty Galvin. I'm running for Assembly District 21. And I'm running as a libertarian. And the reason why I'm running is because it's very important that Nevadans have a real choice in their elections. Far too long, we've seen our government fail us. It's grown too big, too expensive, and it doesn't protect our rights. So that's why I'm running to give Nevadans a real choice. I'm a special education teacher here in Nevada. I'm a UNLV graduate, born and raised in Las Vegas. And last election cycle, Libertarians actually won 2/3 of their races. That's because these local and state races are actually very approachable to the local people, and they're actually the more important races. So I hope that you guys check me out, tiefornevada.com. Thank you guys.
Hey everybody, my name is Stephen Borella and I'm running for Clark County Reporter. I will start off by saying what made me decide to run was back in 2022. It was shown that we were 10 years behind in verifying and indexing records. And when that happens, it can lead to false liens being put on properties. It makes fraud easier to do. And so I always say these are the people's records, and who controls your records matter. And that's why I stood up and said it's time for me to run, time for me to represent Clark County, and for me to protect y'all's property. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I am Michael Boris. How are we doing today? That's right. I'm running for Congressional District 1. I'm a 40-year Las Vegas resident, small business owner. I've got 6 kids, and I'm going to use my voice in Congress to help our education, cut the red tape for the businesses out here, and try to help right all the Nevada politics the way they're supposed to be. We need a real face for real working people, a 12-hour-a-day union employee. So let's get out there and vote. Don't forget June 9th, I am a Republican. So if you want to be Republican, let me know and we'll get you signed up. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Skye Boris. I am running for Clark County Reporter. I have been in the reporter's office for 15 years. I have trained over 80% of the staff, and I've been in management for 11 years. And you know, sometimes when you're fighting so hard from the inside that you have to step out and you have to make a difference from the outside. So I'm stepping out because my director is actually retiring after 20 years, and it's time to make some changes. So I'm running for honesty and integrity for the record. That's Skye, S-K-Y-E, the number 4 reporter. Thank you.
Good day, everybody. My name is Gabriel Cornejo. I am running for Congress District 1, so you are in it as we speak. And I'm running because we've seen the SE class for decades now take from us our time, our wealth, our rights, and even our neighbors. So at this time, we are experiencing Las Vegas turn into the playground for the wealthy. It's time that we have somebody that's willing to fight for the community. Because we have a K-shaped economy, and if you do not address this, then you're going to see the oligarchs that have taken over our country also take over our democracy. So this is not the time to play games. It's not the time to be complicit. It's time that we have people that are really interested in advocating things, especially as AI and artificial intelligence are taking your future for all the students that are here today. I'm here to fight for you, and I'm here to fight for our community. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone for having us tonight. My name is Dr. James Lally. I'm a cardiologist here in Las Vegas. I'm running for Congress in Nevada's 3rd District in the Democratic primary. I'm running to fight back against MAGA, ICE, and AIPAC, and also to stand up against the billionaire class in corporate America that are making the cost of living that much more expensive for all of us, and stand for the people in their pocketbooks. To sum things up, my talking points are the same as Pope Leo. We have too much economic inequality in this country. We can't have a country where Elon Musk is getting $1 trillion pay package and more than half of American families are living paycheck to paycheck. We need to stand up against that. And 2, we need to show compassion towards immigrants. People want border control, but they don't want ICE terrorizing people in the streets. And as Pope Leo said multiple times, the only solution to the humanitarian crisis between Israel and Palestine is a 2-state solution, an Israeli state and a Palestinian state living side by side. Only America can make this happen, and America needs to make this happen, whether Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu want it or not. For more information about my campaign, check out LallyForEnvy.com. Thank you.
Hi, I'm working Morgan Wadsworth, and I'm actually running for Congress in CD2, so that is Northern Nevada. I drove all the way down here to see you guys. I am 27 years old, so I am a Gen Z candidate myself, and I am running to bring back accountability, integrity, and hope to Congress and to this country. We are being crushed by the cost of living. We are being crushed by this hopelessness in the younger generations. We are being crushed in the state, in the West, in our country with the climate change that we are seeing, and with healthcare, student loans, all of these things. And so I decided to jump into this fight. And again, my name is Morgan Wadsworth, and I am actually from Northern Nevada. It is nice to see all of you guys.
Good evening, my name is Tera Anderson. I am running for United States Congress here in Southern Nevada's District 3. I am a second-generation Nevadan. I've spent my career for 20 years in land and economic development. More simply put, I build things. I'm predominantly on the heavy industrial side of things, so water, housing, power infrastructure, fuel independence. These are things that I think, they're not always sexy for Nevada, but they are timely and they are at the fundamental core of our habitability. I negotiate on behalf of business and industry at every level of government for a living. And I'm a staunch states' rights, limited government gal. And right now we have got to elect people who have a command of the pain points of big government that are suffocating industry. But it is very specific, and you need to understand not just Nevada, but the intricacies of how we've got big government that is implementing laws and regulations that add no value, but rather make it so cumbersome for us to enjoy our lives, to start and create business, and to have our own quality of life. And so I'm passionate about Nevada and happy to apply what I believe are my timely and relevant skills for the issues that are facing our state today. Thank you very much. I'm Tera Anderson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barak Zilberberg, and I am running to become your next governor of Nevada. I ran in 2022. I ran as a presidential candidate in 24 as a nonpartisan, and now pivoting back into the state in conjunction with running for U.S. presidency in 2028. I started as grassroots as a plumber, literally in the trenches, and from there arisen with willpower, resilience, not giving up. And my whole focus here in Nevada is the blueprint of my book, Resilience, bringing that to life here in Nevada, of what righteously belongs to us and everything that correlates in our freedom, our Constitution, and equality and justice for all. Thank you so very much. God bless America and Battleborn Nevada. I love you all. And also, we have room for further generations and growth, affordable housing, and just bring it all together. Thank you so very much.
Hello guys, I'm John Scott. I'm running for governor as a nonpartisan. I am your youngest candidate at 25. We are in the middle of an energy crisis. 2 nuclear thorium reactors would provide energy for this entire state. After that, I want to brokerage a deal with California to fill the Salton Sea and then pump water all the way to Lake Mead. After that, I want to figure out a better way that our government can handle our money by 1, dissolving the budget, distributing the funds into our elected officials' paychecks and making them pay for any laws, legislation, and government agencies they wish to enact. Thank you so much.
Hi there, y'all. Thanks for coming out today. I'm Dr. Aury Nagy. I'm a conservative Republican running in the Nevada's 3rd Congressional District. I'm running as a doctor. I've taken care of patients for the last 20 years here in town. I'm 50 here in Nevada. And over the last 10 years, I've served as your president of the Board of Medical Examiners. I'm running because I've seen too many of my patients crushed under medical debt due to hospital bills. I've seen too many people having to choose between food and medication and housing. And I have a plan to fix healthcare in America. I think I can save our country as much as $3 trillion, which would be enough to make everybody in this country feel a little bit wealthier, have more money in their pocket. There'd be more money in the banks. More money in the banks would mean more home loans, more business loans, and more construction. I think it would be like our economy would be running on jet fuel. I'd love to see you vote for me, and you can find out more about me at Nagy for Congress. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for the invite. I am a 40-year resident of Las Vegas, Nevada. I am an alumni of UNLV, Go Rebels. I'm a graduate of the William S. Boyd School of Law. I'm a sole practitioner, and I have been practicing law in our community for 22 years. With that being said, and I'll try to be brief, but number one, why should you care? I'm running for Family Court, Department D, that's D as in divorce. It is a nonpartisan position, and a lot of people don't recognize the importance of family court. Nobody ever wants to be there, but we end up there, or someone else we know will end up there, and it's important because the judge will be deciding your family, what happens with your family, your children, and your assets, and matters such as alimony, and a plethora of other issues that the family court will resolve on your behalf. With that being said, it's important because you need somebody with experience. I have done countless domestic cases, divorce cases, and custody cases, and I invite everybody—
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just fine.
I invite everybody to go to my website to find out more at MARR, the number 4, judge.com. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'll keep this quick because I'm really excited about this evening. My name is Phil Robinson. I am running for Congress in District 3 as a Democrat. I am a transplant from Arizona, but for me, I think that's irrelevant. As a Marine Corps veteran, I care about this nation and I care about this state. I come from very humble beginnings, and when I say that I'm going to tackle affordability, I can't express how passionate I am about that. We absolutely need to get corporations out of our housing market, and that is one of the things that I plan to champion as soon as I get into Congress. Thank you all very much.
Thank you to everyone who came to our candidates debate nights. Next, I'm going to have my secretary, Jasmine, go over the rules for tonight's debates. So please listen carefully.
Hi, good evening. Hope everybody's doing great and you enjoyed. Hopefully you remembered people's names because we will have a student forum section as well where you can ask specific candidates questions. So just to quickly read off our event guidelines. So purpose and environment. Gen Z events are designed to foster open, respectful, and student-centered civic dialogue. All participants are expected to contribute to a professional and constructive environment. Participation eligibility, sorry, can't read. Gen Z LV reserves the right to approve, deny, or revoke participation or attendance at its sole discretion. Participation may be denied or revoked for individuals who have demonstrated conduct inconsistent with our standards, including proven unethical or unprofessional conduct that harms others, harassment, intimidation, or exploitation, actions that undermine fair and respectful dialogue, disregard for event structure, moderators, or participants. Decisions are based on conduct, not political affiliation or viewpoint. Professional conduct expectations. All attendees and participants are expected to engage respectfully, even in disagreement, follow the moderator's instructions and time limits, avoid personal attacks or disruptive behavior, contribute in good faith to the discussion, language and decorum. Excessive profanity, inflammatory language, or targeted insults are not permitted. Strong viewpoints are welcome. Disrespect is not. Audience members must remain orderly during all segments. So just a quick overview, the College Republicans Debate Night is an opportunity for students and community members to hear directly from candidates and engage with the issues shaping our future. This event is focused on creating an open and respectful space where ideas can be challenged, perspectives can be shared, and voters can become more informed. Through a structured and moderated discussion, candidates will address key points affecting Nevada, respond to differing viewpoints, and showcase their approach to leadership and problem solving. So with all that being said, are y'all ready to get started? So we do have 4 topics to discuss today, and then after that, we will invite students to come and ask questions.
Thanks, guys. And with all being said, please don't take this event personally. I know some of you will. I will be the bad guy. It's okay. I don't mind being a moderator. I already got myself into this. Before we start, I just briefly want to say thank you to the media team that donated their time to be here as well. I have Barak as the photographer here, so give him a round of applause and appreciation, please. I also have Ryan over there as the B-roll camera operator, so give him a round, please. And so that being said, unless you guys say otherwise, I think we can start in chronological order from starting at CD1. So who do I have representing CD1? Raise your hands, please. Uno, dos. That's it, uno, dos, right? All right. Come on, guys, come on up. Take a seat, either side. Let's do this. Oh, you know what? I was gonna do something kind of retro where you have like the coin toss, but you don't have coins. So what we'll do is, here, since you sat down here first, I'll put the burden on you, and we'll start off with some questions. And again, we have it's okay. We'll just go to whoever shows up first. So if you really want to show up in your round first, just race on down here. So let's kick this off here. So obviously you guys have heard these gentlemen's introductions. If you haven't, again, there is the replay. But I want to address housing. So I have a question here. Pierre, this will be directed to you. And then Mr. Boris, Michael, you can go ahead and answer it as well. So the question is, what is the biggest barrier to building more housing in Southern Nevada? Is it regulation, land, cost, and how would you address that?
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's start everything with a framework. Okay, my thesis is that the wealthy have accumulated so much wealth that it has deprived us of our pursuit of happiness, and this comes true. It stands out glaringly here in the state of Nevada. Right. So if we operate with this idea, housing market is very unaffordable for the vast majority of people. Right. The median age for an average home buyer, first-time home buyer, is 40 years old. That's unacceptable. But the national narrative is that we need to build more. Okay? This idea, under the framework that I gave earlier, that the accumulation of wealth at the top means that they can outbid anybody that buys a home that is built, right? But secondarily, here in the state of Nevada, we have a finite resource called water. So even if we were to advocate for building more homes, you've got the variables that are staunchly against those that are trying to have their piece of the American dream. So this is where my policy is actually, we need to put a cap on how many properties any individual can own at one time and get rid of private equity and corporations from owning properties. Now, for those that don't know, because this is a turning point event, I debated Charlie Kirk many years ago, and before he passed, he was advocating for private equity out of the housing market. So this should be something that is bipartisan across the spectrum, but in the state of Nevada, 25% is owned by private equity. The national average is 3%. So this is why I think, especially here in Nevada, you need to get rid of all corporations out of the housing market, and then you need to put a cap on how many properties any individual can own, and then you can go from there.
Thank you. And then also, by the way, Jasmine, I'm not the timekeeper, so we have someone that can keep time. I think you're good, so don't worry. Just one quick clarification before we pass the baton on to Michael here is, Gen Z Las Vegas is not affiliated with Turning Point. We are nonpartisan, and obviously College Republicans is collaborating with Turning Point USA for this event, so just that clarification. As moderator, my job is to be fair for you guys. So just a distinction there. Thank you so much. All right, Mike, what's your take on this?
Michael Boris, how we doing? My take is that your American dream does not come out of my pocket or anybody else's. Your American dream is right there for you to go after. If you want more land, we have to fight the Bureau of Land Management, who has taken up huge mass proportions of Nevada illegally. Also, we have a problem with e-buyers, which are people who do not live in this country, specifically China, buying up huge portions of property and raising up the rent prices, and then doing it universally so that we can't afford that. I'd like to get rid of the e-buyers. I'd like to get our land back. And I think there's plenty of America still left to have the American dream. Putting a cap on how successful I could be or how many houses I could buy, which I can't even buy one right now, which is a problem. But, you know, if I made $50 bazillion tomorrow, I'd like to know if I want to buy 4 houses for my family, I could do that, or 8 or 12, or however many that I worked hard and I earned.
All right, you've heard Michael's position. What's your take on it?
I mean, I think we're in alignment on this perspective, right? If we want Americans to have a piece of the American dream, and that was fundamentally predicated on owning a home, having a family, these things are getting harder and harder to accomplish. And the other variable that I want to introduce, and I made this point when I introduced myself, okay, when we're talking about the nation gambling on artificial intelligence and automation, the objective by the Epstein class is to make sure that you and all the students out here don't have a job as soon as you get out of college, right? Because they're trying to take whatever opportunity is available for humans and turn it into an automated system so that way they can keep that wealth and that productivity. And so think of that when we're talking about the housing market, because as we see these principal ideas being displayed and rolled out, it's all under the format that these jobs are probably not going to be there for the vast majority of people. And so this is where a lot of my platform is predicated on transitioning Nevada away from just being an entertainment tourism beacon. We also need to make sure, because we do not know what direction the economy is going to go in with artificial intelligence and automation, we need to have power at the center of all of it. And Nevada happens to be an abundance of energy waiting for us to then become the epicenter of energy production for the Southwest. What that does is it extends our runway for human jobs, but it also makes sure that we are positioning ourselves to foster what the next iteration of civilization can be. Because right now, this state of what we have is just a K-shaped economy leading to more and more wealth trickling up instead of the American and the working class.
Thank you. I think this is kind of segued into an interesting part where we talk about AI, and I think both parties have, or all parties have their opinions in regards to that and the utilization of that and how exactly that should be managed. So, Michael, what are your thoughts on AI, and do you have anything from a policy standpoint where you stand on that?
I personally think that the automobile was scary too when it first came out, but we learned to adapt. AI, we have programs for PhDs. If you learn how to use the tools, it's meant to simplify your life, not replace your life. Somebody has to turn the button on. So I think AI is a good thing. I think that I use AI every day. It saved me so much time to spend with my family now that I would have spent hacking away at tedious numbers and everything else I do. But I don't feel like we are in any way threatened to be replaced. If not, we create and we adapt, and new jobs come out because AI is doing the tedious stuff so that we can use our brains a little more.
Any thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, so I often hear that analogy, and I think it's I appreciate it first and foremost, and Mike, you know I love you. But that analogy is kind of antiquated. Here's what people need to understand. When you compare an automobile to horses, what happened to the horses when the automobile became popular? The horses had less opportunity for themselves, right? That's the state of where we're at today, right? The objective of AI and automation is to make sure that productivity is no longer in the hands of human beings, and that's fine. how evolution of technology works, right? And to say and assume that we're always going to have input as a human into the value creation for companies, that's a farce, because the objective by these individuals that have these capitals, that have these technologies, is to buy up anybody that produces greater value. So even though in this moment we have a lot of innovation, the objective is to remove human aspect of this. You see this in the strip.
And that is time.
That is, yes, in the sky. All right. Well, I'll give you the opportunity to rebuttal that if you'd like, but I also want to two-way this. I want to segue into, if AI is not a big concern in your opinion, then what is kind of the single biggest issue that Nevada, or your district is facing right now?
It's definitely not AI in the east side. Our biggest issue right now is people have lost care for people who can't donate to campaigns and don't vote as often and don't believe that the system is still working for them. You have a lot of people who have hope but have just dealt with so much in life that they don't feel like they have a voice anymore. We have so many empty businesses where I'm at, and I mean just fields of them sitting dormant when you have people out here begging for work, begging to do their businesses. We have a 48% Hispanic community, and you see them getting pulled off the streets for their food, or anything that would, delicious food, anything that's gonna help create a resource for them outside of what I see as the democratic system to overtax and overregulate. So I think we need to cut the red tape. I think people need to be allowed to reopen these businesses immediately, and we need to start
That is time.
revenue.
Thank you, Pierre. Your thoughts on this?
Sure. For those that don't know, I built a company to take on Amazon that I ran for 7 years because I was concerned we would become the United States of America brought to you by Amazon, which we have. Okay? So when you're talking about people not having a job, and what I was referring to earlier is you're seeing those jobs being replaced by AI, automation. Case in point, rideshare drivers up against the likes of robo-taxis, Zoops, you've got Waymo, right? These are all coming after the human jobs. You're seeing your first casino without any human dealers. There's a reason why this is a grave concern. There's a reason why that accumulation at the top makes it inefficient free market. So for my Republicans in the room, is this what you want? Because if you want a capitalistic society, you need to understand those oligarchs that were all at Trump's inauguration, they're the ones that are controlling things. I try to take one head on. Obviously, we're at a state where the AI revolution is of great concern for everybody that's trying to preserve their pursuit of happiness.
Now, the jobs that you're seeing taken over by AI are very low-level, no-think jobs. You have to get smarter, America, Nevada, Vegas. I'm sorry if dealing cards has worked great for you and passing out the little pieces of paper, but it's time to evolve your brain because we are getting left behind. Rapidly, we're raising blackjack dealers and strippers out here. And I'm sorry if they're doing AI ain't gonna take over strippers, but I'm sorry if their jobs are going. It's time to evolve your brain and do something and contribute a little better to society.
You are going to have a swarm of strippers after you. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was something to contend. I want to pivot a little bit towards, and guys, let me know how we're doing on time for CD1. Okay, 2 more minutes. Okay, got it. So let's finish strong here. Carol, what does effective representation look like for a district that is pretty diverse, pretty purple in here? So what would that look like for you, effective representation?
Sure, for context, I've lived in 11 cities across 2 countries. I've been white collar, I've been blue collar, I've been no collar. There's a reason why I can talk about the efficiency of a free market, right? Because I know how to talk to people on the left and the right. So when we talk about Nevada specifically, if you want to address the many, you have to be able to engage, and not only engage, but you have to be able to communicate directly. So being able to frame things, whether it's from the lens of a business owner or from the lens of labor, these are things that I have a knack for because I've been in all these. And this is where at this moment in time, you want to make sure that you elect somebody that not only understands how to speak to people, but also has a background like I do to navigate the AI automation revolution, because people need to understand the consequences without that navigation could be detrimental to our state. So this is where, also having been in charge of the nation's largest smart meter project for Southern California Edison, I know how to position us so that way we have a focus on energy production, because we do not know how AI is going to move the economy.
Time.
All right, we'll finish strong. Let's hear it.
Effective representation for my district. I personally, I love Gabriel and myself. Anybody who's, had to fight to get where you are today, and you understand the voice of your people. In our district, we are very diverse. I am multilingual because I've lived there, not because I took special school, but these are my people. I run 2 successful companies, and I'm also a stand-up comic. And I think that's super important to have a great sense of humor when you're dealing with anything in Congress. Very important. So it's just about inspiring people, getting them out to vote again, and making sure that their voices are not forgotten out here, especially in District 1.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, very much. Please be sure to stick around for that Q&A at the end. I know the students are going to love that. That's the juiciest part. But thank you, gentlemen, so much. I appreciate you. All right. So next up, kind of interesting, CD2. Or CD2, yes. All right, so for CD2, I was actually expecting something kind of interesting, like a Democratic showdown, but the other CD2 representative could not join us today, unfortunately. Same day notice, could not attend, but hey, that's fine. I want to put some spotlight on you. I'm going to ask you some questions, and then I want to spice things up because it should just be kind of a shame for you to be all here by yourself. So I would afterwards invite someone either on the Republican or Libertarian side to kind of join you and have a little back and forth here, something friendly. So if you're interested, I'll have the opportunity for you guys to raise your hand in a minute, Tanya. I know you're excited. All right. And also, just want to say, first of all, thank you for coming all the way from where, Reno?
Yes.
My goodness. So long drive. So let's jump into education, being that we are at a college. Teacher shortages are a major issue across Nevada. Would you prioritize higher salaries, incentives? How do we deal with this?
I would say both. Our teachers definitely need higher salaries, and incentives have been shown to work very well, not just for teachers, but also for bringing doctors into communities. Those things definitely work. We have a doctor shortage and a teacher shortage in Nevada, and raising salaries for teachers and having housing incentives and student loan forgiveness incentives is definitely what I think would really help us out here.
So I want to recognize that in the North, at least from what we know, is a kind of pretty conservative area. So how would you deal with voters that would disagree with you and maybe have some trust issues? How would you kind of overcome that?
A lot of the conservatives up there wouldn't disagree with that. We do care a lot about our teachers in our community up there in our rural districts, which a lot of them are in my district, CD2, are really, really struggling right now with finding teachers for our schools in those rural districts. And so I have not come across any disagreement there, so.
Alrighty, well, let's introduce some potential disagreements and questions here. Tig, I saw you just jump up here, so why don't you go ahead and come on down and let's get a little friendly debate going on here. Alrighty, so I recognize that you guys are not running in the same district. This is purely for the sake of debate, since it's debate night. So this question here, and I'll have Ty go first, and then I'll give you the opportunity to go after. How would you balance environmental protections with industries like mining and agriculture that are critical to Nevada's economy?
Well, first, if I could touch on education a little bit, if that's okay. Sure. So I'm a teacher at a CCSD school, so this issue, it's close to home. I'm 25 as well, I grew up in CCSD. And the number one thing is honestly that it's too top heavy. There's too much administrative load. So much money is not reaching the teachers, and that's something that really has to change. CCSD in particular is so big, it has to be cut up so that more money can actually reach the classrooms. On the other hand, we also need to be allowing school choice so that parents actually have more options to send their kids so that they don't have to rely on, and from the horse's mouth, failing schools. But in terms of environmentalism, I think what's really important is that we have proper land management and ownership here in Nevada. We constantly see it with the BLM for the sake of land preservation, they claim, but then they sell off land to the highest bidder. We see it in Thatcher Pass now, on what should be rightfully tribal land. It's going to be opened up to lithium developers.
Time. Right, thoughts, BLM, land.
Yeah, so I am a 6th generation Nevada, and I come from a ranching family. So I know all the grazing rights, water rights. But I am pretty libertarian leaning for a Democrat, so I actually kind of agree with everything that you said. We also have very massive staffing issues with the BLM and the way our processes work, which is a huge problem in Nevada. Also, unfortunately, it's my congressman in CD2, Mark Amadei, who had tried to sell off lands without talking to our southern representatives in the middle of the night. And so that is definitely a problem. And first of all, we need to be talking to all of our representatives if we're going to be trying to sell off land in Nevada. We need to talk to, Dina Titus, Susie Lee, or if somebody else takes their seats. But tribal land, tribal sovereignty is a huge thing. We have a lot of the tribes up in northern Nevada, and we definitely need to be protecting that and listening to our communities, and we need to be bringing in tribal and rural communities when we are making decisions in those communities, land-wise or anything else.
Thank you. Well, I feel like, this kind of aligned, it kind of worked out pretty good here. So we're going to talk about, we're not going to talk about that, just because I want to make sure that it's relevant. So many small businesses in Nevada feel the sense of over-regulation. What's one regulation that you would be willing to roll back or reform?
Well, look, I'm a libertarian. I would be cutting all regulation possible. Any regulation that gets put on my desk, I will cut it. And the most important issue that I want to tackle with that is really something that's been touched on by a lot of Democrats, is these insider deals. A lot of these regulations are specifically in there, and they make it so that you have to pay a certain price to get a license, you have to pay a certain price to get, this land development deal, and that's really what's preventing a lot of this. So number one, we have to ensure that the special interests aren't completely dominating the decisions that are being made in our government.
So I'm kind of curious. You heard from a standpoint of, cutting all regulation, but you're not running as a libertarian, so maybe you have a little bit of pushback on this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is kind of a different way to answer this question in a different avenue. All these tax incentives and tax abatements we give to massive corporations, they don't need those. It's our small businesses that need those because things are expensive and they are struggling and we are putting too much. Everything is very top heavy in Nevada, in this country. It all comes back to massive corporations and the massive amount of spending. When people say they don't trust, government or federal government, well, that's because massive amounts of corporate money and billionaire money is controlling everything in our federal government and in our state government. The gambling in the mines pay our state politicians a lot of money across party lines. So that's a huge issue. And so for small businesses, it's not necessarily regulations. It's taking those tax incentives and tax abatements and kind of helping the small businesses while breaking up the monopolies of the massive corporations in Nevada.
All right. Also, just a brief note here. We did invite our CD2 Republican candidates, by the way. So if for any reason they feel like maybe joining on the live stream and commenting something, or maybe sending a representative to ask a question during the Q&A, we are more than happy to accept some nice questions. That way we have a balanced debate night. That's what it's all about, is across the aisle. So let's go ahead and ask the big old question here. So if elected, how would you ensure that counties aren't overlooked, especially rural counties aren't overlooked in favor of larger population centers?
Well, I think it's amazing running as a libertarian, because something that we've talked about is I'm not bought and owned by anybody. I don't take large corporate donations. I never will. I will always be running my own platform. And when it comes down to that, the truth is that in the Nevada Assembly, which is the race I'm running for, so many decisions are only made with Reno and Las Vegas in mind. And so, as a libertarian running on restoring individual rights, cutting regulation, making it as easy as possible for any individual to live their life the way they see fit, whether it's to start a business, whether it's to move here to Nevada, whether it's to marry who they want or use whatever substance they want, I would get the government out of their life. And a lot of these government bodies, they don't understand what's going on in Esmeralda County or a lot of these smaller counties. And so they need to be empowered to make the decisions themselves, not in Carson City.
All right, Morgan, help us finish strong here.
Yeah, so, CD2 is Reno, all the rules up there in northern Nevada. So, yeah, we've been kind of abandoned in our rural areas. The Democratic Party doesn't really go out there. The Republicans go out there sometimes when they need, a photo op and to keep the vote up there. But it's not sincere, and they are 100% overlooked. And again, coming from a ranching family, actually in Lincoln County, but I was born in Reno, but they're all down here. So the thing is with the rules is we really have to show up and we really have to put a lot of effort in gaining their trust. We are the state with the most public lands, so this is more of a federal thing. We are the state with the most public lands, and a lot of those public lands are, tied to those rural communities and the things they do out there, ranching, mining, all those jobs, and we need to be bringing them into the conversation with those things.
All right, both. Thank you so much, and make sure you stick around till the end. All right, and you guys know what time it is. 1, 2, and CD3. Come on up. How many CD3 representatives do we have today? 1, 2, 3. Okay, can I have the CR team please bring in some extra chairs, because it looks like this is going to get nice and crowded here. Scooch in, guys, I don't bite. Okay, stay tuned for a brief camera check. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why you always have a backup stream, which we do have a backup stream, so no worries there. The old iPhone can also help out, so let's get the show rolling. I hope no one peeked at the questions. Even if you did, it looks like your phones aren't here, so you can't use AI. That was one of our things. I was like, guys, let's make sure we don't post the questions everywhere. So this will be kind of interesting. Bear with me. We have 4 people here, so I will go ahead and try to be time effective and make sure you guys have some nice fun debate. So I'll start off this way and make our way here. And as we go back and forth, so what is the most urgent issue facing CD3, and what would you prioritize in your first year?
I think that the thing we're seeing, when I'm talking to voters out there, the thing they're most concerned about is the cost of living. They're saying wages aren't going up and everything is getting more and more expensive, and we need to do everything we can to fight back against that. We see there's never been more economic inequality in America than there is now, and I think things we can do to help fight back against that is raise the minimum wage is one thing. Definitely people need to be paid fairly for the hard work that they do to fight back against corporate America and the price gouging they're doing. We see it with our electric bills, at the gas pump, at the supermarkets. Affordability with housing as well. We need to get at the corporate America out of our housing here, but also we need more housing units. And the thing I hear most of all from people is why does healthcare cost so much? And we need to fight back against corporate America taking over healthcare too. So it's definitely cost of living.
I think it's a combination of things, or maybe not a combination, but it's a couple of things. We go down to the rural areas like Laughlin and Sandy Valley and Searchlight, places like that. And one of the biggest struggles that they're having is their water. Laughlin is on a building moratorium because of the lack of water. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the dam does more than just hold back the water, it provides energy. With the water level being as low as it is, the turbines are not getting the amount of, they're not producing the amount of power, which means we're talking about cost of living increases, our energy costs are going to go up because, again, those turbines aren't working at 100%. Another issue that we're seeing again, kind of piggybacking off of what the doctor just said, it is affordability when it comes to housing. We have too many corporations coming out here and buying up our lands, and they're jacking up our rates. They're doing these cheap little renovations. As a real estate agent, I can speak pretty extensively about this. They do cheap little renovations, and then they try to maximize their profit by 2 to 3 times what they purchased it for. And then they are cash buyers. We gotta get that out of here.
Right now, the most pressing issue is water and cost of living, and both of which the catalyzing solution is to successfully renegotiate our BLM situation and our Nevada's unique relationship with the federal government. We are not the authors of our own destiny here in Nevada. We are not able to efficiently maximize our unique resources. We produce 17% of the power we consume. We don't have, right now, as we speak, the federal government is looking to encroach on our water allocation because of the expiration of the Colorado River Compact, and they are now engaging because the member states didn't successfully renegotiate. The BLM will catalyze access to housing, which I have a very specific plan for. I hope I'll have an opportunity to address that in a future question. But that is the lever that could catalyze a lot of meaningful impact for Nevada that has a direct implication to our access to home ownership and to reducing our cost burden on everyday living overhead costs that families and people in Southern Nevada are experiencing.
I agree with Dr. Lally. The most pressing issue facing Nevadans today when I go out there and talk with people is affordability. I do a plan to fix healthcare. I think it's the best plan that I've heard as I go around the country, and when I present it in Washington, we're getting a lot of positive support. We think we can cut healthcare costs in this country by a third. When people's premiums go down, they have more money in their pocket, more money to spend. In terms of other things we're doing well here in Nevada, I'm starting to build our own energy resources here. We have a tremendous amount of renewable energy and geothermal. And in solar, we're going to be building a long line from a power line from Vegas up to Reno. And it's going to enable data centers that are going to be drawing from this power grid. We're decoupling ourselves from the high California energy prices. And the president has enabled an increased amount of drilling for oil, so our fuel prices are going to be coming down to release $70 million barrels from the Strategic Energy Reserve. So help on oil prices on the way. And I think affordability is the number one issue, and we're doing a lot right now to fix it. And that's what I focus on.
Thank you. Now let's talk about housing and growth. As Las Vegas continues to grow and expand, how do you balance housing expansion with infrastructure like water, traffic, schools?
I think as far as housing expansion, it's been estimated that a lot of the affordability issue with housing is because we do not have enough houses here. It's estimated in Las Vegas, the area has about 67 to 70,000 units short. So one thing we can do with that, as I said before, get corporate America out of the housing here. But also, we're just going to need more houses. We'll probably need more land for that. What we've done in the past is, Nevada has a unique bill as the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act, where it allows some BLM land to be taken, but the money that's paid for with that gets put back in the community to buy conservation land, to put it towards the water authority, to put it towards schools as well. You work with the community, work with the BLM to get that land to build more housing. So we do need more housing, and we need to cut the red tape for the housing as well, build smaller units and zone for multifamily units. A lot of things we can do to get more affordable housing and more housing.
Yeah, so again, I agree. We need to, instead of building out, we need to build up. We need to take the water shortage more serious than we are, and all these single family homes far away from work, it's causing us to use, or not be able to use our transportation as effectively as we should. Because of that, again, we're seeing more waste and people just spending more money on gas. And if we are able to build up and kind of make things more multi-use, then that would be better for each and every part of, especially District 3.
So I think we're all acutely aware that we have a housing crisis here in Southern Nevada, but specifically, what can we do to solve for it? Through the BLM Lands Act, I want to exclusively carve out a percentage of the residentially zoned land that is only made available for owner-occupant use. You eliminate the unfair fight between investors and end users. That will reduce the current rising costs of housing because there's an artificial inflation because you have all these people coming from out of state who have higher discretionary spending, higher wages than what we're realizing here in Southern Nevada. So by making residentially zoned land available exclusively to owner-occupied users is how you provide access to home ownership, and it is the most critical thing to creating generational wealth. Secondly, I want to incentivize investors who are sitting on numerous residential properties to release them and sell them. There's a lot of seniors who have 2, 3, 4, 5 properties individually, and they don't want to sell them because they don't want to pay capital gains. The importance of making access to homeownership, if seniors and investors are willing to sell their existing residential ownerships, we reduce their capital gains obligation. In exchange, they only sell it to owner-occupied users.
One of the interesting things about Nevada is that we have a history in our state. When we were first made into a state, we were one of the only states where all of the land within the state was not relinquished into the control of the state. We have a huge amount, 85% of our state is federal land. We have the capacity to litigate for this, and we have the capacity to argue in Congress that this should be released back to us. And the way that that happens is that the Nevada Congress Congressional Delegation, the Senate delegation, successfully convinces the other members of Congress to release that land back to us. The way we're able to achieve that is by generating value and wealth for the country and able to distribute that wealth around the country through other actions we take. If we fix healthcare in the country, we're going to get a lot of favors due to Nevada, and we can release that land. When we have control over our own land in our own state, we can release it and develop it in a way that serves our community members best.
Jasmine, how much time do we have for question? What? Oh, no, I mean like, as in each individual question is like 90 seconds, right? 1 minute, okay. Also, I recognize that if I just keep going this way every time, it becomes predictable, so let's change that up. We're gonna start from this end now, and so let's get into the nitty gritty a little bit, guys. What makes your approach to leadership distinct from the others on the stage and also running for CD3? I mean, CD3 is a pretty crowded race, so kick us off.
Sure, I've been providing leadership here in Nevada for a very long time. I was the president of the State Board of Medical Examiners here. I was the chair of the Nevada Nutrition Coalition. We revolutionized nutrition for the school district here. We advocated that we could improve nutrition in schools because we have the best chefs in the country. The freshest food shipped in every morning. We have some of the top nutritionists, the NFL, the UFC, the NHL, the WNBA, and we could provide the most nutritious, delicious meals in the country without raising a dollar in taxes. After working for 3 years, we convinced the school district to jump on board with our plan, and 2 months ago, they started allowing local producers to produce food that meets these standards in the school district. And this is going to improve the nutrition, the academic performance, athletic performance, reduce obesity, reduce long-term health problems. And this is all done, again, just by providing leadership now. A lot of people want to go to Washington and tell you they're going to provide leadership at that time. But I've been providing leadership here in Nevada for a very long time, and proven leadership, I think, matters for something.
So I've been serving Nevada as a second generation Nevadan for my entire life. I've advocated for kids in foster care. I've served on the Public Education Foundation board. I've been on the front lines of business and industry trying to diversify our economy. When you run for public office, the first and often the only question that the political class asks you is how much money you have. They don't ask about your knowledge, they don't ask about your ideas, your relevant experience, and they certainly don't ask you about the strength of your character. We are starved for quality leadership and representation. I think when you run for office, as I have done, you have to sincerely ask yourself, what is relevant and timely about my skills to solve the unique problems that we are facing today? Nevada has a housing crisis. We cannot afford water, energy. We have a federal stronghold over our lands. I negotiate with the BLM for a living. These are issues that are in my wheelhouse. In the next 5 years, I may no longer be relevant, and someone else's skills may be warranted to step forward and run. And that's, I believe, the lens that you should look at. And also, if you have the subject matter expertise, you do not fall prey to lobbyists and special interests because you have a command of the issues and can't be outsmarted.
So my experience in leadership that would be different is being a Marine Corps veteran, you, or any veteran, you get to work with a bunch of different people from all types of different walks of life. Something that I'm not hearing from anyone up here on this panel is being able to work with different people from different backgrounds, convince them of why your leadership is the best leadership, and actually lead them to accomplish a mission. When it comes to making it out to Washington, D.C., we know we have a very huge gap in our leadership, and that is because there's no organization. So when it comes to leadership and differences with the leadership there, we need people who actually have experience in leadership where it matters, where it's life, literally life and death. Because that is what a lot of Americans are facing. It is life and death. And we do not have leadership that we need where we need it.
Yeah, I think as far as what we need to do with leadership, and especially this is what we see among Dems as well. Too many elected Dems, I feel like, they're bought and paid for by corporate interests, so they're only paying lip service to bring the real change that we need here in Nevada. And I think we need new generation of leadership here in Nevada among the Democrats who are going to say, we're going to stand up to special interests. The reason we don't have the change we need here, we're not fighting for the people, is too many of our politicians here are bought and paid for by corporate America.
Thank you folks so much for being a part of this event. We're so grateful for you. In respect of time, we're gonna move on to the next debate section, which is for governor position. So thank you folks so much. I need some water.
If there's only three, you want to move over to that one right there?
Yeah, scoot over, guys. You like each other. Come on.
You don't lie, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's not been documented on this live stream yet. So just a brief reminder, folks. If you are one of the few on the live stream there, Facebook, or if you want to direct people to the live stream, the best spot right now is going to be directly on my Facebook, Marlon Alexander Medina. Right now, the YouTube live stream is just having a couple hiccups there. But just keep in mind, this entire event will be replayed and rewatchable, so feel free to enjoy it. And if you're just arriving right now, you are witnessing history in the making across the aisle. Really, who would have thought, right? To get out of your echo chambers and to hear the other side. What a novel idea. So pretty interesting race here for governor. Three guys up here ready to debate it out. So I'm going to start, John Skye, you're over here on this side. So what is your vision for Nevada over the next 4 years, and what would be your top priority from day one?
So obviously we need to solve the energy crisis. It only takes 2 thorium nuclear reactors to actually fund our entire state for the energy that we need. After that, I want to brokerage a deal with California to put ocean water in the Salton Sea and then pump it all the way directly to Lake Mead. Do desalinization plants, and with the nuclear power plants, we can fund the energy that those are going to need to actually fill Lake Mead back up.
Did you see that? See that was a nice psychological warfare. You got these cute kids here, and just I can't see. It's working. That's a good plan right there. Just kidding. All right, Barak, what is your vision for Nevada for the next 4 years? Priority from day one.
Day one is the economy. I'd like to go ahead and bring an agreement for Donald J. Trump, which is our president, and open up our federal lands. That's number one. In doing that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create communities, affordable housing, get our homeless off the streets, infiltrate them in wellness centers so they can go back out to the communities and serve. Wholeheartedly, I'd like to go ahead and build high-speed railing systems and connect Las Vegas with the northern part of Nevada, which is Reno. And then I'd like to overhaul the educational system wholeheartedly, introduce vocational careers, trades, integration of applications, technology, and I wholeheartedly would like to bring it into the next generations of Nevada.
Yeah, so the first thing that I would want to do is make us be first, finally. I feel we're last all the time, every election, over promises, under deliver. I feel we're last. I would take out as many regulations as I could, cut as many taxes as I could. Now, Nevada is a business as well too, and so our state needs money as well too, right? But I feel that if we grow, Nevada grows. A couple of things that I would do is, first, there was a bill, 530, that raised the fuel taxes almost 75 cents. I would cut that out. I would cut out property taxes. I would make car registration $40 for the life that you own the vehicle, no matter what the value of it is. Audit CCSD, Metro, and the healthcare system.
Guys, don't hesitate to just like jump on here and tell us if it's time. I know we normally have like this other mic that will just be that person who let us know, but I think that mic is currently down. So don't take it personally if someone jumps in and tells it's time. So I want to pivot here to education, being that we're at UNLV, being that education is so relevant to the future. How would you restructure Nevada's educational budget to improve outcomes? I mean, let's face it, Nevada's ranks kind of low all the time, and I was born here, so it's always been like that. So how can we change it? John Scott.
So I actually want to reform the entire way we do education. I want to make high school more of a free-form platform for people to actually go into classing and any thing that they really want to learn. We can't actually force people to learn, and how that would look at a college level, I'm not exactly sure, but I feel as though if let's just say, you know, a few students start to show up to an algebra class and then they overfill it, well, now the education system needs to pay for another algebra teacher that opens up another classroom for more people to funnel in. And it'd all be more like a social thing, more so for people to develop as adults and then to be interested in guiding themselves into any education that they actually wish to choose and be a part of.
Thank you. Here, I'm going to mix things up just to be fun. So we're going to go this way and then go back this way.
Excellent. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to audit CCSD. Where is our money? So much money has been allocated to CCSD, but it's not funneling down to the teachers, making it harder for the teachers to teach our kids. They should be the first ones paid, right? So that would be the first thing. Now, once we do that, I would like to restructure everything. More classrooms, more schools. I hear about them taking out 20 schools, but on the east side. I don't hear them taking them out in Summerlin. Well, why, right? So there's so many questions why we're number 48 out of 50. We're such a rich state. We should all be ashamed of ourselves that we're number 48 out of 50 in education. So definitely a reformation needs to be done. And I'd like to actually get inside and ask them, how can we restructure it? How can we restructure it to make it better for us?
First off, we have to have administration that is transparent and the numbers are all, in line. Knowing as to where to divert the funds and how to derive the revenue. I know through cannabis, we do have taxation, and I don't know where the money is going, in all due respect. So we need transparency on our ability, we need justice, and we need a lot of anatomies that now we have, or we don't have as of now. So Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, guys, so let's get a little spicy here. Whenever we talk about police funding, things tend to get a little heated. So should Nevada increase police funding overall or shift resources into specialized areas like mental health and prevention? Let's take it around from this way.
Yeah, great question, right? Once again, we need to audit them, and not audit them because there's corruption going on, but audit them to shift money where we can have more policing in our communities. Now, one of the things that I see that is taking up a lot of our policing, and it's 50% of our police calls, is for homelessness. And so we have to reform that. There's money allocated, federal money allocated for homelessness, and it's not being used. I would like to build a psychiatric hospital that has medical, physical, mental, and a work release program to eliminate all the excuses for us. So that would create more policing in our communities if we get them away from having so many homeless calls. So it would be about shifting money around, not necessarily more funding. I think they have enough. It would just be more shifting money around.
Please, can you reiterate the question?
Yeah, sure. So the question is, should Nevada increase police funding overall or shift resources into specialized areas such as mental health and prevention?
Yeah, we need our first responders, our people in the military, all our militants, and taking care of them is essential. We do need to keep law and order, and we have to keep everything in perspective. That's number one. Number two is, in regards to the homelessness, I'm gonna build wellness centers and infiltrate them in, as I mentioned, and then out they go and serve the communities. We should not give up on anybody. There's no person out there in Nevada that we should or we are to give up on, because everybody has a chance. But we got to bring the American dream back here, and this is how we're going to do this, and we're going to start the blueprint here in Nevada.
All right, well, we already have one of the best police departments in the entire United States. What we actually need to do is reform our whole laws on, speeding to anything else like that. We need to actually go after violent offenders, rapists, sexual predators, stuff like that, instead of giving a person going 90 on that interstate a ticket. Other than that, just better laws and legislation for what we actually persecute and how we do it.
So let's address the elephant in the room. Obviously, the governor role is a very demanding role. Governor Lombardo couldn't be here, and that's very understandable. However, what would you guys do different, right? Why not the current governor? Why this change? Why would you be that right candidate? Take it from here.
So I actually want to, in a way, reform the way we do governance. I want our elected officials to actually pay for all laws, legislations, and government agencies that they wish to enact off their own paychecks. I want to dissolve the budget and have it only be ran on consumption tax. So I want to get rid of property tax, income tax by our federal standards. And then I want it to be a separate account that they can use for personal matters, but it all be on ledgers for the legislations that they put their name behind and the amount of money that they wish to fund those laws and legislations for. And that's why I should be governor, because nobody's out here talking about new ideas. They want to complain about things, argue with the other side. Me, I want to get past that. Now, this would also localize a lot of the policies, since we could have one side be funding laws, legislations that they wish to implement into their constituencies, and the other side doing the same thing. Thank you so much.
I'd like to bring the power back to the people. That's what I wholeheartedly like to do. And when I run my administration, I'm going to make sure that I take polls from the people and make sure that they agree to the legislation that passes by my desk, whether I should sign it or I should veto it. I want to give the power back to the people, not to the gatekeepers, and cut the red tape, period.
For decades, not just Joe Lombardo, but for decades, we've had governors overpromise, underdeliver. We need somebody that's going to be out there with the people, not behind his desk. We need somebody out there finding the solutions to the problems that we're having on a daily basis, and that's what I'm willing to do. We have a lot of minority people here that are not having their voices heard. I'm gonna be out there with them day in, day out, trying to figure out problems and solutions for everybody. Not just big businesses, but middle and low.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We'll move on to the next candidate role. All right, we got another lone wolf coming in here, Mr. Rafael Arroyo, Senate District 12. All right, so you guys know the drill by now. We can't just have one man hanging out here by himself, or woman. So I would like to call upon our Democrat candidates. Now, knowing that this is Senate District 12, but just purely for the sake of engaging in some nice debate, do I have any volunteers from the Democrat side that would like to engage in some debate? All right, come on up. Alrighty, guys. Thank you again. So again, some things maybe just modified for relevancy to make sure that it makes sense for both of y'all. I'll start with you, Rafael. What's the biggest issue in your district that isn't getting enough attention in Carson City right now?
Well, it's getting attention, but I don't think it's getting enough, and that's holding people accountable for petty crimes. I think that a lot of our societal decay comes from people not being held accountable for petty crimes. And we've seen what the experiment has been in our neighbors to the west of saying, hey, you know, we don't want to fill our jails with people that are committing these, they call them crimes, with victimless crimes. But when you run a business and someone steals, you know, the business owner is the victim. Your actual customers are the victim because you have to raise your prices in order to cover those losses. And now I'm not saying that, you know, just because you steal a case of beer, you should automatically go to jail, but there should be, you know, some accountability for that, and it shouldn't be that someone can walk into a 7-Eleven, like I saw last week, steal a beer and just walk out, and no one can do anything about it because the police won't come because they're overburdened with other things, and because the prosecutors won't prosecute. There has to be accountability for petty crimes.
Thank you. Yeah, Riser, can you share your thoughts?
I agree there needs to be accountability for petty crimes. I think that when we look at the higher level of government, there is not enough accountability. We can talk about our politicians being involved in the stock trading on the insider trading. And that kind of trickles down to a lack of accountability and makes people feel like it's okay to commit these types of crimes. With that said, I don't think that we need to just throw anybody and everybody in prison. I think there's a better way to be a productive member to our society, which means community service or other things that keep you out in the community, keep you involved, keep you educated, instead of just throwing you in the prison system and feeding the beast of modern-day slavery.
Rafael, can you share your thoughts?
Yeah, and I agree with that. I actually think that there should be, you know, community service should be one of the things that, you know, we can maybe hold people accountable to and say, hey, look, you're decaying our society by stealing, by, you know, causing harm to these local businesses. You need to give back to that community. That may be some of the, you know, type of quote-unquote punishments that we could do. But at the end of the day, as a society, we have to look at the problem and take it seriously and make sure that we find a structure, of accountability for those people.
Let's talk about affordability when it comes to school. What specific policies would you support to make college more affordable for Nevada students? We'll start with you, Terrill.
Well, I think that it's insane how much it costs to go to school. I think that there are a lot of courses that we are forced to take as an alumni here from UNLV that we're forced to take that don't really pertain to the thing that we're hoping to gain a degree in. So when it comes to education, I think that we need to expand trade schools. We need people that are actually getting educated and practical, are getting practical education in the things that they are planning on practicing. Again, I have a bachelor's degree from UNLV here. I'm not in debt because I've had the VA help me out, but how many other students can say that? But on the flip side of that coin, we have $1 million plumbers, $1 million electricians. So we need to focus a little bit more on trade schools and obviously, making it tuition, forgiveness in certain cases.
Gabriel, share your thoughts, please.
I think there needs to be more education on making such a huge decision at such a young age, maybe 17, 18 years old, and throwing, $100,000, $150,000 loan on somebody. They may not really understand what that means, what that actually looks like. So I think that we need to educate our students, from a Senate, state Senate perspective. I think there's more to be done at the federal level, to be honest. I think that the government subsidizing these loans for these students creates artificial inflation of these class prices. But that's not something that I can really address as a state senator, but I do agree that we do need to focus on other jobs such as trades and vocational schools and give our community opportunities to achieve that American dream. I'm a business owner. I went to UNLV for one semester. It wasn't for me. But I've been able to be successful because I found other avenues. So I think we need to open up those other avenues to our community as well.
I also went for, I think, 2 semesters. Wasn't for me. Still love you, UNLV. So partisanship is a big thing, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have to do these across the aisle events to try to get something done and get some understanding. So, how do you balance party priorities versus what your specific district actually needs?
Well, I think at the end of the day, the district is going to vote, for the values that they believe in. And so if you are elected, they voted for your values and they voted for your representation. Now that doesn't mean that you completely, ignore the other side. You're a representative of all the constituents, every single one of them in your district, and you should have an open door policy and an ear to say, hey, give me and educate me on both sides of the issues. And as a person that's worked representing an industry and worked in state government, I can say that I worked with all Democrats the entire time, even though I'm running as a Republican. And there was a lot of people that were very understanding. And I think you can respectfully disagree with someone's policy positions without becoming their enemy. And I think we need more of that.
All right, talk to me about balance.
There's obviously a clear lack of balance in our federal government. I think a lot of that, again, comes from the top. If we have an executive who is saying that, one party is the enemy and inciting, violence essentially against the other side, that again trickles down to lower levels. When it comes to working across the aisle, again, having that Marine Corps background, a lot of service members are Republican, but being able to have an effective conversation with them and educate them on why it is that you're making that decision is how you are able to move forward and accomplish the mission. When it comes to working across the aisle, that is what you need to be able to do in order to advance not only the state, but as a nation. So I think finding compromise, having those hard conversations, and bringing what the people want to every conversation is how you can be an effective leader in Senate or in Congress.
Thank you. And we'll have one more round here. So at the end of your first term, should you win, what would you want the people of your elected, your constituents, what would you want your constituents to say about your leadership?
I would like for them to say, damn, he's good. He really listens to the people. He's taking our concerns back to Washington, D.C. He's actually fighting for the people. He's not up there taking APAC money or corporate PAC money. He's involved in the community. He knows what the issues are. And even though he's not of the same party, I know that he is for the benefit and advancement of Nevada and the nation. That's what I would like for my constituents to say after my first round.
All right, take us home, Rafael.
I would like for people to say, that I held government accountable, that we went in and we found where the money is being wasted, and that we allocated that money to other places. I mean, we as a government spend tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on things that we absolutely do not need. So that's something that I look forward to doing, serving, the community in SD 12. And I really hope that they realize, as a business owner, that that's the experience that I'm going to bring there, right? Understanding that in every business and every organization there's leaks. And we have to find those leaks and we have to stop them. And you'll find a lot of money for the things that you actually want to build in the future if you pay attention to that.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. All right, so next up, AD 21. Who do we have up AD 21? Ty, did he just step up?
Perfect.
Oh, okay. All right, well, we will get back to him just in case he went off for a brief moment. And let's go on to Clark County Recorders. Where are our Clark County Recorders? All righty, folks. So, here at Across the Aisle, we want to give the opportunity for everyone to speak. Even if the office is maybe a little obscure, maybe you guys don't really know exactly what happens in the Clark County Reporter side. So, I'm grateful to have you both here. Since you sat first, I'll go with you first, Skye. So, most voters don't really understand this role. So, what's one thing you would change immediately that impacts residents?
Well, Marlon, you said it. Most voters don't know what we do, and yet we pay taxes on all of these administrative positions and don't even know what they do. So education is key. I've been actually out in the community having a Let's Talk series and just getting to know them and them getting to know us and knowing what we can do and what we can't do. It's extremely important that we are all accountable to one another. So that's one of the things that I would do first.
One of the first things that I would do for the Recorder's Office is expanding the RNS service. The RNS service is the Records Notification Service. So essentially, if anybody records anything on your document, looks at it, opens it, it notifies you right away. But the problem with that is it's email only right now. And as a former car salesman, I'll tell you, nobody checks their email, sadly. So I want to expand it to SMS messages, which are text messages. So you're notified right away if anything's recorded on your property. Because Las Vegas Review-Journal literally said fraud is done because of the public records. Public records are so open that anything, you can search your name on the public record and it will pop up. So we need to fix the fraud, we need to fix the false liens, and we need to make an office that works for Clark County.
Thank you. So, how would you ensure transparency and trust in public records across all groups?
Well, I think that starts in-house. So one of the things that I do believe in is that I've been a seasoned recorder for over 15 years, and you have to know what you're doing first in order to actually correct the problem. So as Stephen did mention, we do have the recording notification service, but no one really knows about that. So once again, we go back to communicating and educating and letting people know what our office does do. I do believe with Stephen, as I've said previously, that encrypted texts are extremely important because we do have phones more accessible than having emails. But working across lines is what we do as the county. I've been a county worker for over 15 years, and we work heavily with the assessor's office. We work heavily with public administrators. We work heavily with public works. So we all have to be able to work together. However, we have to have the knowledge of what we do first.
So to create better transparency, I would want to create a public dashboard so that we do routine internal audits in the recorder's office. So if there's a mistake caught, we catch it right away. Because at the end of the day, mistakes can cost you thousands of dollars. I was talking to a woman the other day who spent thousands of dollars just to prove that she owns her own property. And it all happened because the recorder refused to do her job. So we need a public dashboard to show how often that we index records, how often we record them, and so the public is transparent and they can see how their $10 million budget is being spent.
All right, so Stephen, tell us why you specifically for this role?
I've been a leader my whole life. I've worked in sales leadership, restaurant leadership, really any leadership you can think of. I've managed teams, I've managed peoples, I've worked in solar where I've dealt with property paperwork. At the end of the day, I'm a leader, I'm a fighter. I was born with 2 fingers on my right hand, and nobody's ever been able to tell me I can't do nothing. I played football, I was a roofer, I've done everything. And at the end of the day, we need a fighter in this office. We need somebody who's going to tell our state assemblymen that we need to end name-based searches because 73% of the state lives here in Clark County. We need to put pressure on our politicians because recorder cannot change state law, but we can put the pressure on them.
All righty, finish strong.
Well, as I've always said, we have to know what we're going to be doing. I've been in the office for 15 years. I've been in management for 11 years. I've trained over 85% of the staff. And I've been fighting for change within our office for that period of time. One of the things that Stephen did mention was our budget. And our budget is actually a little bit more than that, Stephen, but you did very well with that. I will say that because you have that amount of money, we have the resources that are able to assist with getting information out to you all and actually bringing technology back to where it needs to be at. I am very aware of where the downfalls and what is working in our office. We actually do have a dashboard and we keep tab on that every single day. However, we need to be using that technology much better than we are right now. So we all have some of the same wonderful ideas. It's all about implementing it, and it's all about knowing what you're going to do. I am a seasoned recorder, and that's why I am running for Clark County Recorder.
Thank you both very much. Alrighty, so I just want to do a quick checkup here. It looks like 8021 went home, so we hope that they are good in health. We also had someone that was running for lieutenant governor. Are they here? Anyone running for lieutenant governor? Okay, same day cancellations. Wow. And across the aisle at a live stream. That's not a good look. But okay. So with that being said, wow, I think we've made it through the main panel. So now I think is our fun part that we get to implement, which is the folks. If you did not RSVP, I'm sorry, you don't get the panel. However, you do get to participate in the Q&A. So the Q&A is very fun, and so what we'll do is we'll have everyone that is a candidate that is still here line it up here at the front. And this is the opportunity where audience members get to ask any one of you any question that they so choose. So let's kick off the madness. Yep, as you'd like. Yeah, standing up. I'll scooch out of the way here.
That's counting on people saying that's a cool name. I think that's not my name.
Oh, okay, guys. Okay, so we're gonna like re-maneuver y'all. I'm sorry. So what we'll do is we'll have you all line up this way, and then when someone gets called upon, they can go to the front. So that's kind of the setup that they're going with. So Sorry. Just making sure you guys are awake, you know, give you a nice walk. Okay, that's awesome. So do you guys want to read through the?
So I do have a couple couple questions, courtesy of some of our students that sent in for this debate. Well, now hopefully everyone can hear me. I do have a couple questions that students sent in to me right before this debate, and so I figured I would ask them to our fellow candidates. So the first question is, with advances in AI making surveillance more powerful, do you believe expanding tools like license plate readers and data tracking possesses a risk to civil liberties, even if it helps reduce crime? Yeah, for anyone.
Okay, so for context, I built the tech company.
Gabriel, right over here, please. Sorry. That way you're in the live stream. Okay. 1 minute each, by the way.
Yeah, so this is where I like to translate for the left and the right. Okay, if we think about the government's role is supposed to be able to protect us. Now, there is an encroachment that is happening in real time where you start to see surveillance on any state taking place from the ring cameras to the surface streets. Right now, if the government wasn't already in bed with Palantir and trying to get in bed with OpenAI to disrupt the defense industry, imagine how that gets deployed here at home, right? Because the objective of, as I said earlier, the Epstein class is to control. And we're seeing that deployed in real time through mass men on the streets to anything that has to do with the free market. Because as these things happen, the consolidation that happens is all means to take away our pursuit of happiness. So why would we expect any different when we're talking about surveillance? And for those that are libertarians, my libertarian friends, we know that we have to be leery of big government and government overreach. And this is just one step towards that.
Thank you. So guys, how did you want to take like a limited number of people and then move on to the next question? Okay, so how about this? We'll take two more. Does anyone else want to give their take on that question?
So AI and its technology is ever evolving, and for us to be anticipatory of what its implications will be and its use is hard to determine. First and foremost, right now, we have a reality problem. We can't even all agree on what's real. There should be a real-time watermark on any videos that are produced with AI. The public needs to be able to discern between reality versus fake creations for entertainment purposes or the like. That is an imminent issue that people are experiencing in real time. I have grave concerns. Very recently, there were announcements that our auto industry has adopted AI technology that will be embedded in our vehicles that are manufactured after 2027. That is an encroachment on our civil liberties. You own the title to your vehicle. The government should not be in there monitoring you. This is a very frightening Big Brother scenario. I am a staunch states' right limited government candidate, and so this is a very alarming use of technology. So with every implication or utilization of AI, we have to very critically ask, is it worth the encroachment on our civil liberties? And right now, my concern with what I'm seeing being implemented is the answer is no, especially when it comes to the most recent utilization in our auto manufacturing.
Thank you. Okay, last one up. Who wants to come up? Raise your hand, nice and high. Okay, we got.
Michael Boris here, CD1. I think AI just needs proper safeguards. I don't think we're in any threat. Anything that scans license plates faster and helps our law enforcement find out who the criminal mentality is, and is a lot more people getting away. You don't know how many stories I hear from friends that are like, ooh, we almost got pulled over rolling around with something we shouldn't have been. If you're out there committing a crime, that's the only reason you have to fear your license plate being scanned. Safeguards.
Alrighty, what's our next question? Or do you want to? Okay, yeah, do your thing.
So this question came about some people that were very high energy in class. So if you had a chance with voters before and you didn't win, what did you get wrong then, and why do you think voters should vote for you, and how did you fix the mistakes you made previously?
Had her hand up first.
All right, first time up, come on up.
My name is Socorro Keenan, and I'm running for Secretary of State. Okay, that's a huge. Voting is number one, no matter how we look at it. We need to get that straight once and for all. When I ran for Secretary of State in 2022, I noticed the disparity of how the voting was very, oh, well, it's going to happen again. I ran for Assembly District 16. 2 years ago, I lost by 99 votes. And I asked, her name is Portillo, I said, hey, can we get another count? Because I came so close. She goes, oh, yeah, you did? No. So my question to everyone is one, you got to get it straight this time. And listen up. One day, one vote, paper, ID, go to your precinct and go and vote and make sure that with those watermarks that she was saying, I totally agree with everything that's original on paper. We can't use the Dominion machine anymore. We went too far. We have to know when to stop in what's evolving in our lives, because they know how to cheat. They have the memory stick, and we have to stop this kind of crazy stuff, okay? So thank you, and I hope we get this right this time.
Thank you. All right, come on down.
Sir. All right, Terrill Robinson, running for Congress District 3. I haven't run and lost. This is my first run, but I can tell you what we are hearing the most on this run, and it is that we're not able to raise the amount of money that the incumbents are. What does that tell you? That tells you that there's too much money in our political structure, and if someone is beholden to, corporate PACs, foreign interest PACs, big businesses, or their husbands, or wives, or spouses, or partners, whichever word you want to choose, if they're beholden to these people, how can they actually be doing anything for us as constituents? That is what we need to really focus on. That is what we need to, as we go into elections, that's what we need to be paying attention to when we're voting, because the wrong candidates keep winning simply because they have money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another question is, for those supporting the ICE out movement, what specific system would you replace ICE's role in enforcing immigration law? And how would it function differently?
Okay, so for those that don't know, ICE out simply means that we need to abolish ICE. Now that doesn't mean that we're against immigration reform, because that's very important for our nation. Securing our borders absolutely is a nation and national security issue as well. But what we need to make sure that we understand is there is context in our nation's history where we have shut down a whole agency or a department. Case in point, in New Jersey in 2013, they dissolved their police department. Why? Because they had a warrior methodology. In this particular case, they went and changed the program to have a guardian methodology. In a similar way, with regards to immigration reform, I want to present some ideas, because here in America, I'm 43 years old, we've seen this immigration discussion happen the entire time I've been alive, and it has not been addressed or resolved. Why is that? Because it's a wedge issue. And when there are wedge issues, politicians make money. So if we really want to solve this, the thing that I think that is most important is we understand that that is the landscape and that's the dynamic that's playing out. But more importantly, if we really want to address this, stop going after the immigrants. They are the least power amongst us. You need to start implementing E-Verify and go after the employers, and that way you can change the dynamics and create a system that is focused on the crux of the problem rather than demonizing an immigrant.
All right, someone is antsy to come on up. You're already coming down. Come on, let's hear it.
Let me tell you, I love ICE. 14,000 plus sexual offenders were found this last year because of ICE. We have an immigration problem that is insane this year, and I love my children. 4 out of 6 are Mexican. I speak Spanish fluently. You cannot have illegal immigrants illegally in the country. It's not just our rule. They do it around the whole world. We are not the only ones deporting but we are the least deporting. We have more immigrants illegally than any other country in the world, and I support anything that gets criminals and sex offenders off the street.
Especially at the White House, right?
Well, let's hear. Yeah, no, I want to hear from one more, so go ahead.
I love the mention of getting pedophiles off the streets, but we need to get the pedophile and the Epstein class people out of the White House. How are we going to remove immigrants and have a president who is implicated in the Epstein files probably more times than Epstein himself? Let's look at the Epstein files. Look at the Epstein files. Look at the files. That's all I got to say about that. Say it. What'd you say?
It's a corruption system.
It is a very corrupt system. Anyways, sorry not to cut you off, but we do, when it comes to removing ICE, there's not a Democrat, there's not a person in the world that wants to have violent criminals running around the street terrorizing any of us. Because we are citizens of this nation, and we are susceptible to that type of violence. So we need to end that narrative that Democrats want violent criminals running around the streets, because that's not true. That's not true. I'm answering a question. I want my time back. I'm just playing. Anyways. We can talk about the KKK if you want to talk about the KKK. Why are they not a domestic terrorist group? But Nicole, what's her last name? Come on. Nicole Good, Renee Good, and what was his name? Alex Preddy. They're domestic terrorists, but we still have the KKK. So anyways, that's all I have to say.
All right. Love this back and forth, guys. I love the free dialogue. So let's continue. We got one more pre-submitted student question, and then we'll open it up to the other one. We'll present that question.
Kind of to follow up the previous question, in regards to the Epstein files, do you think that we should prosecute the leftist politicians who are in there as well, like Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I don't think the Epstein files is a partisan issue. I mean, the fact that anybody, right or left, is trying to make it a partisan issue is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. If you are a criminal and you are a pedophile, regardless of what party you are or what your political beliefs are, you need to be investigated and convicted. Enough with the partisan games. It's ridiculous. So yes, if there is leftist, Democratic politicians in the Epstein files, investigate and convict. If there are Republican, right-leaning politicians in the Epstein files, they need to be investigated and convicted.
Thank you. We'll hear from two more. Anyone else? Go ahead, John Scott.
Look, I don't want to get violent here, but ball-peen hammers do fix dents, and they also create them. Look, it's incredible that we have no surveillance on these people at all. We aren't prosecuting anyone. We're not talking about it as much as we should be. We're not doing anything. We're allowing these people to just get away with it, throw it in our face and say, oh, well, good luck next time, I guess. It's bullcrap. We need to hold everyone and everything responsible, have them under 24-hour surveillance. And the whole worldwide sex ring that they were running still runs to this day. They haven't collapsed it. They haven't gotten rid of all of these people that were also running everything that the system took to make that system propagate throughout the entire world. So let's get through this. Let's get done with these people and get them out of our government, get them in prison, and get it over with.
Thank you. Anyone? Last one up. All right, Steve.
I'm gonna make it kind of short and sweet. What I will say is, of course, pedophiles should be arrested no matter what political affiliation they are. But what I want to say is, there was no mention of any libertarian in those Epstein files. Not one. Okay? Except for Ron Paul. They didn't mention Ron Paul, but they talked about how much they hated him because he was not a warmonger. So vote libertarian. Thank you.
Okay. This is the last one. Okay, so I want to get these guys the opportunity. Okay, go ahead. Well, yeah, it should be because I want to. Yeah, all right. I want to open it up. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, I want to open this up to all the attendees for being so patient. I got someone excited to come on up here, and yeah, now you get complete freedom. This is like the Infinity Gauntlet. Like you get to pick and choose whoever you want to ask this question to. They have to come on up here instantaneously and answer that question.
I got my infinity stones. It's in my dog tags.
But I wanted to ask you a question. Yes. No, it's great setup, great everything. In the future, is it possible that we can do fact checking on the spot?
I love that. I am 100% behind that. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming. We take every bit of feedback honestly and earnestly. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this event started by simply being a webinar. I was just like inviting candidates to be like, hey, you guys want to show up? You guys want to, discuss your opinions? And from there, it evolved into having a slightly bigger room. And now we're in a slightly bigger room. Actually, it's kind of like twice the size as the other room. But yes, I want all those things. I think that is fantastic. We are completely 100% grassroots. I don't take money from anyone, especially not APAC. That's as political as I'll go. But, so if you guys want to see more of this and potentially donate to this, I hate asking for that. But anyways, the website is gzlv.org, or you can just contact me directly and see how we can figure this out. Again, everything is resource-based. We're really grateful for College Republicans for sharing their resources with us. So round of applause, thank you. All right. Someone else. Not me, please.
I got a question.
Oh, okay.
When we're finished,
Yes. Yes, we can totally do a group photo. All right. Anyone from the audience? Questions? You have a question? Come on up then. Don't be shy. Yeah, come on. You're getting a little like a drum roll. All right, go ahead.
Come on. All right, for the congressional candidates, how are you going to handle the immigration laws and the rules that we need to change when you get to Congress? And I'll start with my Democrat buddy here.
Okay, so ask the question again so I make sure I understand.
You're going to get to Congress, how are you going to handle the immigration and the rules and regulations and change them?
So immigration is a problem, and I think we're hearing very loud and clear that the majority of Americans feel that way. However, going door to door, pulling people out of their homes, holding kids hostage for their parents to surrender themselves, resembles Nazi Germany. So we need to get ICE off the streets. That's not to say that they don't need to be operating. They need to not be operating illegally. They're not operating by any standard of law enforcement. They're showing up with administrative warrants, intimidating people to open their doors. Again, they're holding people's kids hostage to get them to surrender themselves. That's not America, that's not law and order, and that's not the most effective way to restore our country and remove illegal immigrants.
You haven't told me how you're going to change it.
I'm going to get them off of the streets and get them back to operating the way that they need to be operating, which is within the confines of the law.
Oh.
Alrighty. So,
properly
do
training.
you want to direct that? I guess we have enough time to have all the congressional candidates answer that. So who's next? Come on.
Tera.
Yeah. Come on up. Yeah.
Second, yeah, young lady right there. No.
Listen, everyone's going to answer this question. We're running for Congress. You're going to answer this question. So please.
What are you going to do to change the laws and enforce regulations, change the regulations for immigration?
Okay, so I mean, it's a little tricky because the way Congress works is the committees have a lot of power over what we do with the laws and also coalitions. Actually, right now in CD2, my representative, Mark Hamide, is the chairman of the DHS subcommittee. So honestly, for me, what I would do is you have to build a coalition and you have to talk to people in the DHS committee. That is an actual actionable thing. As for policies, though, I believe that the funding for ICE is way overinflated and that we need to be putting that into legal pathways to help undocumented immigrants that are not criminals get legal status, as well as making DACA dreamers and things like that give them permanent citizenship here.
Now is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn, Tera.
The other young lady.
You see, he likes the power now. Before he was shy, now he's like, yeah.
Although we can't stand next to each other, it looks like we coordinated.
Halloween.
So the question was, what would you change policy-wise to fix immigration?
Regulations.
So up until about 20 years ago, we annually, in our economic forecasting as a country, we examined the trades and the skills gaps within our economy, and also looked at, based on our available resources, the volume of immigration that we could absorb annually. We stopped doing that, and we need to get back to that. When I was in my 20s, every time I had money in my pocket, I would travel overseas. I was still insatiably curious about the world. And the number of times I have seen people standing in line at embassies trying to come here, and through the right means, that is the system that needs to be fixed. There's not a country on the planet that allows you to enter its borders illegally without consequence. So that is a non-starter. We have to be a nation of laws, but we can still be very proud of our diversity and legal immigration in this country at a rate that we can absorb and in a way that supports a well-rounded economy. But the process to come here legally needs to be transparent, navigable, timely. It is burdensome, it's confusing, it's expensive, and so that is the system and the process that needs to be resolved for the better people.
Yeah, we do need border control, but it does need to be done with compassion. ICE obviously is not doing that, so we need to tear down ICE and rebuild it from the start. There's some things I do agree with the Republicans on. As far as the border, we need a secure border. I think a border wall, this is an ancient technology. This is absurd. We could do this with more high technology, with drones, more computerized systems, something going forward that's just not, we're gonna build a wall. Other things though, that the Republicans definitely don't agree with. We have to reverse the Laken-Riley Act. The Laken-Riley Act was allowed ICE to deport people without due process. This is absolutely unconstitutional, needs to be reversed. We also need to path the citizenship for DACA and other groups like Afghan allies, which Trump has absolutely turned his back on. And just a horrible thing that he's done with that.
Okay, thanks for the question. As if I haven't talked about this all day. All right, so truth be told, there's a couple things that need to be addressed, right? DACA has to come out of this purgatory status, right? One of these things that I think is important to recognize, we had Reagan offer amnesty, and with that, there was reform. Okay, so here's what we want to accomplish in this moment, right? We have people that are coming to our border because that's the law as it exists today, whether it's legal or not. You have to think about the context and the conditions of why people are going around the legal system. It's abhorrent, right? We touched on that earlier. It takes too long, it's inefficient. But part of it, as I mentioned earlier, is there is money to be made by politicians. If you do not understand that and address that, you're never going to fix this. So in order to fix this, make sure that's pointed out. People need to go to their embassy. Their embassy for the United States in their country helps alleviate that journey, helps alleviate a lot of people that are trying to come here while waiting for their decision to go through the legal process. You need to offer more resources to the judicial system as it exists today, so that we can bring back that backlog and bring it down faster than it exists right now, because that journey is part of the reason why people are going around the legal system.
How do you go fix the immigration laws?
Hi, Michael Boris again. I keep hearing terms like, oh, that's not American. If you're here illegally, you don't have American rights here. I'm sorry. I do think that ICE is a little extreme. I don't think any citizen of this country, despite your skin color, how you talk, should ever have to fear being snatched off the street by anybody. But if like my in-laws worked hard to get here. It took time, and you do, like Tera said, you gotta fix that system. That's the issue with that. But if you're here illegally, you shouldn't be here. You broke the law. And I'm sure you lived a great life while you were here, but that's not supposed to be your life. You didn't do the right way, and you're taking the spot of somebody who did.
Thank you, Candace. Thank you for that wonderful question. I did hear that, Keen, where you're at, you had a question, a Gen Z question, and I want to.
Alrighty, so and in case you weren't in the room, I'm vice president here. I'm one of the vice presidents here on the College Republicans, and I want to thank all of you again for coming. There's a lot to be heard on both sides, and I definitely agree with some things that the Democrats, the Libertarians, and Republicans have said. Like, it's a very great thing that we can all come here and debate. But again, as we're here for the Gen Z and that we are here on a college campus, my question is kind of two-parted. One is, as Gen Z is like the emerging generation and becomes more and more powerful with their voters coming in and being eligible to vote, why should they vote? Because let me tell you what gets these kids out. It's not voting. It's free food and free activities out there on the lawn. Like, they don't care to vote. Like, when I talk to peers and I'm like, are you voting? Are you registered? No. Why? I don't know. I mean, it's whatever, right? So why should they vote? And then why should they vote for you? Because let me also tell you what's on their mind. Like, what's on their mind is affording tuition. What's on their mind is trying to buy a house, buying a car. You can take health too. Like, there's so many aspects to this that voting they aren't connecting to. But like, it connects to health, it connects to school, it connects to education, it connects to literally everything. So why should they vote, and why should they vote for you? And this goes to anyone.
Well, as the Gen Z congressional candidate, why you should vote? I am older, I'm 27, so I am an older Gen Z. Why my generation needs to vote? Well, do you want to keep getting outvoted by people who are 65, 70 years old, right? Do you want to keep getting outvoted by those groups? They're the ones that are controlling who gets into office because they are the ones who show up at the ballot to vote. So all those issues that you just mentioned, you have to be voting, you have to be involved in politics in your community, and you have to be educated on what's going on, and you need to look at the candidates and you need to vote, because otherwise it's going to keep going to the older voters who are paying attention, who are showing up, and they don't have the same problems that our generation does, right? So you want to fix those problems, then you need to vote, and you need to be paying attention. So that's kind of like why this generation needs to vote, and why you should vote for me is, again, as an older Gen Z, the life out here that we have been given, the social contract has been broken. Things are extremely difficult for our generation. We have some of the highest student loan debt, the worst housing market, worst job market, all of these things. So so you need to vote for people who understand that.
You guys have already talked, but give the governor a chance.
So we'll hear, because I know.
He's right. Well, I apologize.
One second, just real quick. Just quick disclaimer, because I know everyone wants to answer why you should vote for them, but I'm going to cap it, okay? I'm going to cap it at 3 more responses after you, so that way we can move on. We get one more final question, and then make sure you stick around for a nice photo. So thanks, y'all.
All right, well, I'll keep it short and sweet so we can get more answers. Why you should vote for me? I am, again, from very humble beginnings. I'm more in touch with the people because of my humble beginnings, growing up on Section 8 and housing and all those other things. That's why you should vote for me, because I understand the struggle. The issue that you're talking about when it comes to why you should vote, you mentioned it. And really it boils down to education. I think it's amazing that on a college campus like this, there's still an absence of education. If you don't understand that it's your politicians that are the reason why everything around you is going up, this university and all universities like it have failed. So as students, you guys being involved in events or groups like this, you're taking that step to be educated. What do we need to do as a UNLV alumni? What do we need to do to get that education to everybody on this campus and in this neighborhood? That is why you should vote, because everything is going up and you can affect it.
So I don't think it should be our kids' responsibility to vote. But why does it matter? Why it matters is because you're working harder than your parents, but you're making less. So therefore, that's why you should care. And as our young leaders, it should be up to you guys to let people know, or let your generation know, why you should vote. And you should take responsibility to know who you're voting for right now in the primaries, so that you're not voting for the less of the evil one, right? And so that's why you should care, and that's why you should vote. And of course, I want you to vote for me because I have the best interest in you and our youth and building up our economy so that you can afford all these things, but you should really be educating on yourself on who these candidates are and who is the best fit for that position.
Most importantly, why are we talking about voting? Because God gave us the most important inalienable right, and that was to vote. And don't let it go to waste, because we only get one chance every 2 years, 4 years, and we have to use it or you lose it. If someone said to you, hey, guess what? You can't vote anymore. How would you feel? You would really, oh no, I want to vote. Hey, why are you taking that away from me? Because it's the most important right we have, whether you agree or not agree, but you get to choose. And God gave us that chance, not the government. The government did not give us that chance. God did. And that's why you should vote for me. Socorro. SOS means help. Socorro means help. Secretary of State, thank you.
All right, Rafael. And then our last question.
Well, I think that Gen Z is apathetic to voting because they've been convinced that it doesn't count, it's not going to make a difference. And that could be the first thing from the truth. If your vote didn't matter, then corporations, special interests, people with money wouldn't spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to convince you through ads to vote. So your vote does matter, and not only does it matters the most now. It matters the most in a midterm election. Your vote actually may be worth 2 to 3x what it would in a presidential election, because people don't show up in midterms. So you need to make sure that the younger generation understands that people are spending money on it. Trust me that it matters. And why I would say, why vote for Rafael Arroyo for Senate District 12? Because I'm going to hold government accountable. That's what we need to do. We need to hold government accountable to how they spend your money. There's a lot of people that have never written a paycheck. There's a lot of people that don't understand that it's not just taxpayer money or somebody else's money. You have to treat it as if it was your own. It's coming out of your pocket. You're paying taxes every day. That's your money that's coming out. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear it, Jasmine.
Can we at least answer the question why they should vote? Like, even if I don't talk about myself, can I just, for the love of God, tell them?
Okay, you heard from the big boss. I'm not the big boss, just so you guys know. I'm just here talking.
Not just me, but can everybody at least answer that question for this young man?
So if you do that, let's X out that last question and then give everyone that did not have that opportunity. You still want to ask the question?
Yes,
oh, okay. All right. So if you guys don't mind sticking around a little bit over time. It might go a little bit after hour, but let's introduce that. So everyone who has not had the opportunity to answer why vote for them, starting with Tera, because you brought that up. You brought it up. All right, go for it.
And candidly, I really wanted to answer your question as to why you all should vote, not just why you should vote for me. In most of these primary races, in my congressional race alone, the Republican primary, they are anticipating 30 to 40,000 votes will decide that. If you young people organized, you want to talk about taking the system by storm and taking your power back, that's why. I think we lose sight, we feel overwhelmed that we can't really, on any individual vote may not move the needle, but in the aggregate, there are more of us in the community than there are of them, and young people have the possibility to seriously be game changers if they take themselves seriously and the reverence for how powerful your vote can be. And so assembly races, even fewer votes. So that's why. So if you guys want to feel like there's an actual impact from your participation, believe me, but between the, 20, 30, 40,000 students are on this campus, you guys could bring a wrecking ball to make sure the candidates that inspire you win.
I would say voting is very important, because what you do today or don't do today will affect you tomorrow. Now, I will say I'm a libertarian. I believe it's your right not to vote. But if you don't vote, you might not be buying a house today, you might not be buying a house tomorrow, but when you buy that house 3 or 4 years from now, you could be that woman that I was talking to that had to pay thousands of dollars in court fees just to prove that she owned her own home. So voting is very important. It is your right not to, but like I said, what you do today or what you do tomorrow will affect you in the future. Thank you.
right, since you asked the question, I'm gonna pass this on to you. I learned this at your age. You're either at the table or you're on the menu. Do you feel like you're at the table?
Sometimes.
Okay? Because right now we've got a lot of problems. And most of them are gonna impact you and your fellow colleagues. Because our futures, we're in the midst of it. Your future is what we're fighting for. Don't be on the menu.
As far as Gen Z, why you should vote, we saw last year in New York, Zoran Mamdani went out and he revolutionized Democratic politics as it is now. He said, I'm going to go out and get these younger voters out. And how did he do it? He said, I'm going to stand up against the billionaire class and corporate America and do something for your pocketbook. And I'm going to stand against genocide too. And I think that's a winning message all over America. Now you may have to tailor that message to the district. For instance, Zoran's running as a socialist, that's not going to play everywhere. But his main message, especially applied to Gen Z, stand up for them and their pocketbooks and stand up against genocide. It's a winning message everywhere.
Look, a lot of the issues are very complicated and they're hidden, and a lot of our younger generations are not being told the truth. They're being lied to. They're saying, hey, vote me in. I'll fix all the problems. You ain't even got to worry about it. And then they get given these lackluster answers that don't actually pertain to anything, and they don't get explained as to anything, so they just give up. They can't formulate why they should even vote because they don't understand why they vote people in just to be backstabbed. That's why I was disenfranchised with the system. I saw it myself. I was like, this is not going to work. 30, 40 years, we're going to absolutely collapse. So I decided to do it myself. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't be lied to anymore. Therefore, I hope to get your vote, and I did it myself. I started voting, I'm running, and I'm doing all of it. John Skye for governor.
I'll be very brief, but let me just say this, that we have people who are we're standing on the backs of people who fought for the right to vote. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents, everyone, they fought for a right. As a woman, we could not vote, okay? As a minority, we could not vote. It is very important, as Gabriel said, to be at the table, not on the menu. So we don't have a voice if we don't vote. But who wants their voice taken away? When people that you love and have worked tirelessly to build that bridge for us to have that right, we can't take that away. We have to stand up. And when we see things that are wrong, we need to stand up. We need to make our voice be louder. And your generation, the children are our future. I mean, that song says it all, but they are. And we believe in them, and so we need to impart that energy, that everything back into them.
I'm running for Family Court, Department D. I'm Patricia Marr, and a lot of people tend to overlook the Family Court election. Why? Because it's just Family Court. Why should you vote? Because you may be in Family Court one day. Your vote matters, it's your voice, and you need to be heard. And I encourage everybody, it's very exciting to be back on the campus. I encourage everybody to do your research, and I'll tell you a brief story very quickly. He had a panic attack just now. I had a client, and we walked out of the courtroom with a decision that needed to be appealed. Guess what? That costs money. I turned to my client and I said, do you vote? Yes. Did you vote in family court? Yes. Did you vote for this judge? I don't know. Did you do your research on the judicial candidates? It matters. It matters. It's your family, and why you should vote for me is because I have the experience. I encourage you to go to my website, look at my credentials. Thank you. Oh, there's one more. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, take it one.
Last one, I think that might be.
And I hate to disagree with the premise of your question, but whenever I was a college Republican here in 1996, it was me and a guy named Mac. And that was it. There was no room full of people. So I think that more young people are voting than ever, but if you think that they're not, that's great, because that shows that we have increased the number of people who have been voting across the board for years. And now everybody knows who their congressman is or congresswoman, and they hate them. Before, we didn't even know who they were. But to piggyback off what she said, please do your research, go all the way down the ballot. Don't just vote for me because I have a cool last name, Sprinkle, although that does help. But there's plenty of information out there. There's more information than ever, and it's online, and everybody can look at each candidate and see why you should be voting for them, all right? So thank you for your question.